el exec, el exec. El Vélez, el Vélez. El fenómeno que todos quieren ser. El chamaquito que no pueden entender.
How we doing, guys? How we doing? This is Tuesday morning because I wanted to wait till all the games were over in order to be able to review all of them and go over the picks and everything. Big weekend, lots to get into, including, the Super Wildcard weekend, all the games. We went 4-2, so we're still positive, in the playoffs. A lot to get into. Coaching, no hires, just interviews. We got Harbaugh finally interviewing with the Chargers, so it looks like that might be the marriage that happens there. That happens there. But Belichick interviewing with Arthur Blank, the owner for the Atlanta Falcons. That's a very interesting turn of events there. I would have thought that Belichick would want to go to a place where at least the quarterback position is cemented and set in stone. Clearly Atlanta is not, as we all know. So that's kind of kind of a joke move by him, kind of like a crickets move. Like why would you do that? Why wouldn't you pick a place that maybe has a little bit more stability at the quarterback position? But Belichick still wants to coach, so it's either he's chasing after a big bag or he wants a team that he feels like can win 15 more games in 2 years in order to get the record from Shula. A couple things on the front. Big news, of course. Hey, what I tell you guys, me and Stephen A have been saying this since the beginning of the season. The Cowboys are frauds. I don't care if you win 12 games and win your division. I do not care. Okay? That to me sounds like this. Okay? Because you have shown us the propensity to always do this in the playoffs. You get what I'm saying? Like, you got to understand that winners, legacies, and legends are built in January. We're going to get into that. I'm going to roast them. You know that they deserve it, especially with the showing that they had. Like I said, we went 4-2. We could have gone undefeated. Like if we're really being honest, if we were like, I'm not talking like nuts, but if we were like maybe if CJ was in his second year, maybe if I had like a little bit more to see because I had never seen him in the playoffs, especially against that Browns defense. So that kind of duped me a little bit. So did Joe Flacco. But, and then we could have picked the Packers, but the Cowboys had won 16 in a row at home. And they were rolling. They were scoring over 30, almost 38 at home. So, we went with the Cowboys thinking that, they're not going to lay an egg in the wild card round. They're going to at least make it to the divisional. And you see what happens. Everything else, we were pretty spot on. And I'm happy for that because, essentially we got the best matchups we could have gotten. If you might say, oh, but the Bucks, it's like, well, would you get that Bucks team that actually will fight, or do you want a Eagles team that can't make a Pop Warner tackle? So, but we'll get into all that. First of all, let's get into the NBA a little bit. Another thing, I want to congratulate Kalen DeBoer, new head coach at the University of Alabama. succeeding Nick Saban is never going to be easy. That's like succeeding Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, any one of these greats. But I think that with the type of coach that he is, he's succeeded at every level that he's been at, every program. I believe that, if he can bring the requisite level of recruiting genius that Nick Saban brought to that program for so many years, that he could possibly build, a couple championship teams, build his legacy, and become a good to great like Alabama head coach. I think this marriage will probably last a while. Alabama's not the type of team to just move on from coaches 2-3 years in. But, at the end of the day, the standard is the standard. And if there is any program in college football that lives by that, it's Alabama. Like, if you're not top 5 ranked, if you're not top 4 ranked, if you lose 2 games, like, it's already a disappointing season. With the NIL and stuff like that, and Texas and Oklahoma coming in, maybe there's a little bit more leniency because, the top 12 teams get in, so you don't have to be like 15-0 to be in the top 4 or 14-1. But, I believe that, it's going to come down to his recruiting base, because as a coach, I really don't have a question. He is a good coach when it comes to leading young men. But, what really sets you apart in the college game is your recruiting. Like, unless, like, this past year, there was a lot of 6-year guys, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you get to that national championship, Blake Corum Sr., you got Penix 6th year, JJ's a 5th year. Like, so, there was a lot of big veteran leadership on both sides of the ball. It wasn't like a superstar sophomore, junior that is going number 1 in the draft as soon as this game is over, and he's going to be like 21 when he gets to the draft, and you're getting a true what I call a true rookie in the NFL. Like, no, you're getting grown men, 23-year-olds, some 24-year-olds, But Caleb declared for the draft. Good job. You didn't do your dumb thing and go back. You weren't going to do anything at USC anyway. Blake Corum had to declare. He was a senior. JJ declared. He's going. So that adds to the QB pool that people can pull from. So it's going to look interesting next year with the 12th team playoff. I think that'll be very exciting. But at the same time, I think that we're going to see some people are going to complain. We're going to complain about maybe blowouts in the first round. Even though in college upsets are more susceptible of happening because, you're dealing with 18 to 21-year-olds. And emotions are high, and, keeping an even keel throughout an up and down game is tougher for a younger player. But I think it'll be exciting. It might put a little bit more stress on the players. We're talking about probably 3 more games if you're not counting the national championship, because you got to go from 12 and then I believe 12 to 8 or 12 to 6. Then you get to 4 and then you get the final 2. But that's going to be exciting. Touching on the NBA a little bit, doing our weekly standings. Golden State just lost to a no Ja Morant, no Desmond Bane Grizzlies team on Draymond's first day back from the suspension. At this point, I don't know what to say. I don't know how, so according to them, everybody's available except Steph. Okay, but what does that mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you going to do to, Draymond said that just the fight's gone. The spirit is gone. I don't understand why the spirit is gone. You still got your core. You know what I'm saying? Like, Steph is still playing at an MVP type level. he's getting more attention now because there's no more scorers on that team. Like, you can't have a Clay on a day in, day out basis give you 20, 25, go for 30 sometimes. Wiggins is not giving you nothing. Pajinski's a rookie, but he's playing well. Kuminga hasn't developed into the scorer that he could be. And then the defense, you're turning over the ball too much, man. Like, it's always been the same problem. It's just they always had the offensive firepower to offset the turnovers, and it's just not happening anymore. So, I don't know what they're gonna do. It's January 16th, so the trading window started yesterday, so we'll see what happens. But looking at the standings, you haven't changed much. There was some teams that were rolling. Like OKC was rolling, but they slipped up against Boston. Who doesn't? But so Boston, Milwaukee, Dame time is alive and well in Milwaukee. He had a 30-foot game winner. That was beautiful to see. I loved watching that from Dame. It means that he's in rhythm. Scored 29 with 8 assists. Efficient. 76ers just got Embiid back. They're 5 back. So I keep looking at the East, and this lead is from 3 to 4 all the time between 1 and 2. Like, Boston clearly 19-0 at home, 7-3 in their last 10. But you got to understand where I'm coming from when I say Tatum is not like true him. He's him, but he's him like a Carmelo Anthony, even though Carmelo never had a good a team as this. For some reason, there is no elevation in the crucial moments. We've seen it for 5 years, him reaching the Eastern Conference Finals. And there's always a disappointing moment. But the disappointing moment always comes. There's always a moment that you're just like, why? Like, why? Why? You're a 30-point scorer, 6'9", have a shot, can rebound, can pass, defend. And you've had good teams, but like you always come up short. And people are talking about, is the window closed? Listen, man, if I'm him, I'm personally thinking that the window is either closed or very close to closing. Why? Because the West is just showing that they're just the better conference. I was talking to my dad about this, and he said the West was always more competitive. I agree, because even when LeBron was in Cleveland and you had all those years that LeBron was in Cleveland dominating, I mean, there was nobody challenging the spot. It was always top heavy. Top, 2-3 teams up there. Everybody else kind of fodder, especially when you got to the playoffs. But in the West, I mean, let's look at the West. Let's go through the East a little bit. You got Philly at 5 games back. They're still 3rd. Cleveland has climbed up all the way to 4th. They're 7 back. Miami, we climbed to 5th. Jaime Jaquez has injured his groin. He strained his groin, but we got Jimmy back. He scored 30 yesterday in a 1-point win. I don't know why we're winning by 1 point, but we played good defense. Indiana 6. They're 8 games back. So we're tied with Cleveland for 4. 7 games back, Miami Heat. You got the Knicks have dropped off a little bit. They're 7 at 8. But so you get past the first 3 games back from Milwaukee. That takes maybe a week, a week and a half to try to catch up if Boston slips. But from there, from 4 to 8, it could change any day, because from 4 to 8, it's 2 games. It's 7 games, 8 games, 9 games. And then you got Chicago 13 games back in 9, and then Brooklyn at 14 and a half at 10. Atlanta is looking to move DeJounte Murray. I don't know to where. Supposed to be the Lakers, but I don't think the Lakers have anything to really offer. They're debating whether to maybe include Austin Reeves in a deal. Who else are you gonna include? Who else? You don't got nobody else to. You're not gonna include no Vando that he can't score. You're not gonna include on maybe D'Lo, but then your bench scoring goes out the window. Rui, like they're only gonna ask for offensive players, the little bit that you have. So like, you know, if you're a Laker fan, get out of the bubble. It does not exist. You're not protected by some higher being that will always allow you to make it to the playoffs and make a deep run and everything. You guys suck. Point blank, period. I've been telling you this from the beginning of the year. They do not have the requisite scoring ability like some of the other teams. You face a team that can defend you, like a Minnesota, an OKC, even though they lost yesterday to the Lakers. If you face a team like that, they will outscore you, regardless if you defend well. They will outscore you. They have more talent on the offensive side of the ball. If you talk about OKC, 5 offensive players on the court. They can all defend, but 5 offensive players on the court, including a nuclear weapon in SGA. Minnesota, you know, you got an elite superstar in Ant. You know, you have a guy in Cat who wants to play in order for Ant's success. You have a guy in Gobert who is defending like his 3-time defensive player of the year self. Jaden McDaniels, a great defender. He can score. Mike Conley is a great point guard. He can score, get people involved. You get what I'm saying? Like, you got to understand that you do not have the requisite amount of scoring, whether it's starting or off the bench. And you're playing your two biggest players and your 2 basically oldest players in terms of minutes, 38 minutes a night. You ain't going to make it to the playoffs. AD is going to break down if you keep using him like that. We've seen it. Even with less time. He stayed healthy, knock on wood, but, you know, 38 minutes a night and you're pulling out games by 1-2 points versus the scrap heap. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention, like, the good teams either blow you the fuck out, like leave you dead in the water, or you make it close because the refs, you know, give you the calls. You know? Atlanta, Toronto, Charlotte, Washington, Detroit won against Washington yesterday. Good win with no Cade. You know, I don't know when Cade's coming back, but Jaden Ivey had a good game. Asar, I saw, was doing work. Marcus Sasser, finally playing him a little bit more. You should. He's a scorer. He was a scorer in Houston at the University of Houston. I saw him in the tournament. He's a scorer. Let him cook. You don't got no option right now. You are 4-36. You're 27 games back of the first place. You're 13 games back of the 10th seed. You got no hope. So just let it all hang out. What you playing for anyway? Washington's a dumpster fire. I don't know what they're going to do there. I think they're just a poverty franchise for the rest of their life. LaMelo came back, but he can't save them. They're 21 and a half games back. So, you know, the East at the bottom is a shit show. Then you go to the West. And the West, so from the first seed to the 7th seed is 5 games. That's it. 5. From 1 to 5, from 1 to 4 is 3. And then from 1, 2, and 3, it's all 1 game. Minnesota is leading by 1. They're still first. 6-4 in their last 10. OKC lost to the Lakers yesterday, like I said. They're 7-3 in their last 10. And then Denver's cooking. They're 7-3 in their last 10 as well. They're all 1 game back of Minnesota. Now, at this point, I think that we can properly say that SGA is either the leading candidate for MVP or top 2. Oh, but what about Giannis? And what about Jokic? What about Embiid? It's like, guys, this guy's averaging 30 back-to-back seasons. You know how hard that is? That's Michael Jordan stuff. You got to understand that. That's Michael Jordan stuff. He's averaging 32, on great efficiency. He's shooting like 56 from the field. Like, even though his 3-point shot is not as deadly as, Ant, that I think is shooting 37. I think SGA shooting like 35%. Like, even with that, he's so crafty inside. He's gonna get to the line. Him and De'Aaron Fox are the two guys that are leading the 2-point jumper fade evolution in the NBA. People thought that shot was dead. Well, guess what? Two of the guys that are averaging 30 love shooting twos. Okay, De'Aaron Fox calls that shit his office. He's the president of the paint of that office of the mid-range game. That's what they call it. And SGA is just a killer. But if we look at the standings, right, I think it's still Denver. Clear cut, 1 game back. I mean, they are chilling right now. They are chilling. And when you see them play, like, you see the rhythm that we saw in the playoffs. MPJ making threes, KCP making threes, Jamal cooking, Jokic just moving around triple-double, 28, 8, and 9, like, easy. Aaron Gordon playing great. It's just easy for him. Jordan Strother I haven't seen him play in like 4 games, and he's a great rookie. Like, so it's simple for them. It's a simple way to play, and most of the time they win. Clippers are 4th. They're 3 games back, playing really well. 8-2. Kawhi has been playing at an MVP level. He continues to do that. Sacramento's 5 games back. They're 5. De'Aaron Fox is playing well. So is Keegan. He got hurt a little bit. We'll hope that he's okay. And then climbing up a little bit from the last few weeks, Dallas. Dallas is 6th. They're 5 games back, tied with Sac. And the Pelicans at 7. And that's going to be a battle all year. But what I like about Dallas is that Kyrie is Kyrie. Kyrie's being Kyrie, like cook Kyrie. Like, wet off the 3. Get in the paint, layup package. You get what I'm saying? Like, Kyrie's being the guy that we all know as greatest handles of all time, wet ass shot, cooking. I'm talking about cooking off the dribble, off the catch, passing. Because Luka's not there right now. He's hurt with a sprained ankle. Once he gets back, I think that they'll be a little bit more formidable. Right now, they're playing well. They beat the Pelicans yesterday with Kyrie. He scored 41, and I think Hardaway also scored 40. He's playing well too. Tim Hardaway Jr. So Dallas is still dangerous because they're staying there without Luka right now. New Orleans, hey man, I think that finally Zion got the memo. I think Zion got the memo. The last 5-6 games that I've seen him play, they're 7-3 in their last 10. The last 5 or 6 games that I've seen him play, he is taking ownership of that number 1 role. We need a bucket. Boom. Pass it to number 1. You know what I'm saying? In transition, if he's on the court, he's getting the ball. And he's finishing around the rim. Like, you think he's 5 feet away, then he puts it up like a layup. Boom. Off the glass. Little floaters. Really, really good. Really good. Yeah, they lost against Dallas yesterday, but 125-120. He had a great game. He had 30. He could have tied it. He missed the free throw when it was 119-121. So he missed the free throw. He made it 120-121. And then, the foul game starts, of course. But I think Zion's playing really well. So is B.I. And I think they're just going to be dangerous no matter what seed they get. that team, because of the defensive resources that they have with Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, you know, BI to a certain extent because of his length. You got Valanciunas, and then Zion. So let's say Zion's playing like this rest of the season, right? What do you think he's going to do in the playoffs? There's still nobody that can stop him. Oh, well, we're going to triple team him. All right, well, I got BI, CJ, Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Dyson Daniels. Like, who you want it from? Well, we still got Jordan Hawkins. He scored almost 40. A game that Zion didn't play. Actually, nobody played. CJ didn't play. BI didn't play. Zion didn't play. They won. And he scored almost 40. So that rookie is panning out just how they thought. Phoenix is 8. They've been looking better, 7-3 in their last 10. The big three is actually working. And Bradley Beal, off of the injury, is finally getting his legs under him. You can tell he's making his shot from 3. He's not leaving it short. He's making cuts. So Bradley Beal is really like unlocking that offense. Booker's playing well, but Book and Jason Tatum for the longest time have looked to me like the same player. One's taller than the other, yes. One plays small forward, the other one plays shooting guard. But to me, the demeanor of the playing style is the same. Jason takes more threes. Booker takes more twos. But there is no killer. And I know Stephen A. loves Devin Booker. He thinks he's special and everything. But, like, you want my special? Score 30. That's my special. Luka, Embiid, De'Aaron, Steph, score Giannis, score 30. Jokic, score 30. And if you're not going to score 30, then be Ant. Score 26, 27, 28, but you're constantly impacting winning. On the defensive end, bringing energy, being absolutely unstoppable. I'm talking about unstoppable. I'm talking about if I have the ball in my hand, if you sag off of me, I'm shooting. Okay, Booker can do that. But what about when you're up against me and you think you're going to stop me and I'm a bop, bop, beep, 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 ooh, I'm at the rim. You know what I'm saying? That's what Ant does. Ant has that killer instinct, that Jordan, Kobe, gene. And I don't see that from Jason Tatum or Devin Booker. I'm just being very honest. Like, we've seen them for over 8 years now on both sides, and it's not there. Especially for Devin Booker. I mean, guys, how do you get Game 7 at your house to go to the Western Conference Finals and you get murdered twice? Not once, twice. Like, annihilated. You just give up. At home in the playoffs, Game 7, Game 6, like, you can't do that. Kobe won't do that. Jordan won't do that. That's not championship basketball. That's not being an all-time legend. That's not what it is. That's not how you do it. That's just that's just what it is. I've seen enough basketball to know that when a guy does not have that, you get what I'm saying? That the it factor is one thing, but that killer instinct factor, that, like, I don't care who's in front of me, I'm about to kill this dude. There's only a few players in NBA history that have that. You know what I'm saying? And that's, if you're really boiling it down to the names that really, really got it, I mean, there's 3 of them, and then maybe you can squeeze in another, in my opinion. There's 3 of them, and then you can squeeze in another. And one of them don't even have a chip. To me, it's Jordan, Allen Iverson, and Kobe. And then if you want to squeeze one in there, and I'll debate about it and everything, but I saw him play, and I saw that in him was Dwayne Wade. And shout out to Dwayne Wade. Shout out to Dwayne Wade. Hell of a career, going to the Hall of Fame. Finally, first ballot, very well deserved. And Pat Riley giving him a statue next year outside of the arena. I don't know what pose it's going to be, whether it's going to be his fade, whether it's going to be this is my house on top of the table. Maybe one of his crazy layups. But, well deserved. He's the greatest Miami Heat player to ever wear the jersey. I think he's going to go down as that, period, for the rest of the time. I don't think that, this guy brought a championship, first championship to the franchise in his third year. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's unheard of. 23 years old. With a semi-old Shaq after his MVP years in the Lakers and the finals and all that. So, shout out to D-Wade, man. Wade County. Utah, number 9. Hey, I told you guys that if they figure out the rotation, this core could make it happen. They have something special. Lowry, best catch and shoot 3-point shooter in the league at 7 feet. Let me repeat that. He's the best 3-point shooter on catch and shoots, and he's 7 feet. Okay? And it's not 7 feet like KP, like a Porzingis skinny. And no, this guy, he has some mass to him. I remember seeing him at Wisconsin when he played college. I mean, the guy was amazing. The guy was amazing. I knew that he was going to be a player. When he went to the Bulls, I mean, that's a poverty franchise since Jordan left. So, yeah, Derrick Rose and Jimmy and everything, but they let him go. Derrick got hurt. Jimmy, they let go but right before his prime peak hit. So, that was a mistake on them. They never knew how to develop Lowry. They didn't play him and everything like that. And then, Utah gets a gem. They're 9-1 their last 10. Keontae George is playing well. Jordan Clarkson, another Los Angeles Laker failed experiment to them, making hay in another team and carving out a good role for himself. Ochai Agbaji, Walker Kessler. I mean, the core, Colin Sexton, the core is really nice, young, and are learning how to win games. It's really nice to see because I knew that they had something, especially when they took Keontae George. You got to understand, like, you got to watch a player in college, and it doesn't always translate, but you got to watch a player in college when he takes ownership of that star role on a team. And at Baylor, the way he played was like a D Mitch, was like a Dwayne Wade. Like, it was, I am the guy, give me the ball, get out of the way, and I'm going to get us a bucket. And that's what I think he's going to turn into in Utah. Okay? He's a rookie and everything, but the way that I see him play, command the offense when he's at point guard, I see the future of the Jazz in him and Lowry. And they just have to give a little bit more time to Ochai, man. Ochai is a great 3-point shooter, and he's super athletic. He could be an efficient scorer. You just got to, I think that they should start him. I think that they should finally start the kid. But, we'll see if that ever happens. The Lakers, 10th, 21-20. 4-6 in their last 10. We already talked about them. No scoring. Houston at 11. They've kind of fallen off. 4-6 in their last 10. Hey, listen. Finally, they're playing Cam Whitmore. Okay? Finally. When I say finally, it's long overdue. Yes, he was playing in the G League, but he was murdering people in the G League. That kid don't deserve to be in the G League. That was supposed to be the 4th pick in the draft. You got him at 20. At 20. You got a Thompson and him. Hey, sometimes, even in the second unit, you don't want to give him a starting role because of Van Fleet and Brooks and Sengun. Okay, fine. Don't give him the starting role. But you put him in charge of that second unit. And the kids can score, man. 3, The guy has hops. I'm talking about if he really wanted to, he could be in the dunk contest. Like hops, head above the rim, exciting. Like I think he more than Green. If you ask me, I start him over Jalen Green. That's just me personally. I just see more. He's bigger. He can bang. You know, he looks like he has more fire to him. He's not that much of a highlight hooper, even though as a rookie, you know, sometimes you are because you're young and you don't know what you don't know. But I think he's the future in Houston. Him and Sengun and Thompson, I think, are the future. I like that they're starting Jae'Sean Tate. He's a good big body. He can shoot. But I think that Cam, at least at the end of the season, but by the end of the season, I hope that he's starting. Because you can't keep a talent like that buried in the bench, even as a rookie. I'm sorry. It's just it is what it is. So maybe if they're not competing or like they can't get back on track soon, maybe after All-Star break, they start him and see what they got with the kid in a starting role. Golden State, we talked about it. We don't know what, I mean, it's like I said, it started the end was just as fast as the beginning. The beginning was a year and a half, 2 years, maybe, because they started percolating 2013 when they made it to the playoffs. 2014, they won their first playoff series and then lost in the second round, and then 15, championship. So just as fast as it went up, just as fast it came crashing down. Because the crash down started last year with the Jordan Poole shit. And then it's been downhill ever since. If you really see, the biggest moment was the 50-point Game 7 by Steph. After that, it's been downhill. They got whooped by the Lakers, and this season they have never gotten right. So Memphis, they finally using their rookie because they have no choice but to use him. Gigi Jackson hits 5 threes, scores 23 points. He's the youngest player in the NBA. Hey man, if you have a talent like that you took in the first round, you know what I'm saying? Like if you have a talent like that it's a developmental talent. He's 19 or 18. We got to develop him. We have a lot of people on this team. Well, guess what? You don't got a lot of people no more. You don't got no Ja. You don't got no Desmond. He's hurt. So unless you're willing to just hear this all day, and this, you know what I'm saying? Play the kid. You played the kid. What happened? 5 threes, 23 points, and you win against the Golden State Warriors. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just use your talent. Put it out there. You're not playing for nothing. You are 13 and a half games back of first place. Maybe you could make a push, but you just lost John Morant for the rest of the season. You ain't making no push. Play the young guy. See what you got. Because then, see, this is the problem. Draft the kid. Okay? All right, we'll sit him on the bench. Next year. All right, he's going to come off the bench, play 20 minutes, 25. Year 3, contract's up. Do we extend them? We don't know. Well, you don't know because you didn't play him. You don't know because you didn't play him. You know what I'm saying? Like some rookies, Laurie, didn't work in Chicago. Why? They played him, but they didn't play him. Let him be him. You're not winning. Let your young players develop at full potential. You are not winning. So the best thing you can do is develop the talent that you're drafting. So when 4 years come by and he's 23, 24 and your contract and the contract is staring at you in the face, you're not like, maybe 50-50. I don't know what we got in him. Can he score? Or can he lead our team? Well, you gave him 2 years of sitting on the bench and maybe playing 20 minutes a night and garbage time and DMPs. You're not going to know. Same thing with Utah with Taylor Hendricks. I hope that they play him more. I think the kid has legit talent. But how are you going to know that if you don't play him? That is, to me, that's insane. You see him in practice, he's cooking and everything, and everything is like, oh, he's a good player. We see him in practice, he works hard and everything, but in the game, you need a spark, or you're down, or maybe you're up a lot. Play him. Play him. Give him the ball. See what he can do with the rock. Can he catch and shoot? Can he come off the dribble? If it's a guy that he can do the dirty stuff, catch rebounds and defend and everything. But all right, let me see if you got an offensive bag. Why? That adds to your value. If you want to trade him later, guess what? He has an offensive bag. Adds to the value. Maybe instead of a second round pick, you could ask for a first, because the team that's looking at him to acquire him is like, oh, well, he has some offensive skill, so he can be an asset on both ends. If you don't like the kid, or you think that he's not in your future plans, at least raise the value and make it better for yourself when you do move him. Portland, starting Scoot, he had a great game, 29, I believe, or 30. I'm glad. Hey, man, like I said, let him play. Let him play. You don't got nothing right now, guys. Nothing. Like, what? You're 18 games back of first place, 9 games back of 10th. You're not going nowhere. Nowhere. You pick a guy at the third pick that should have gone second, but they took Brandon Miller, which is playing pretty well, but is hurt right now. And Scoot, all he had to do was figure out, hey, I might be the fastest guy on the court every night, but that doesn't mean I have to be at 100% speed all the time. The only guy that I've seen that is at 100% speed all the time and kind of under control, and I say kind of because he can lose control sometimes, is Russ. He built a Hall of Fame career off of that. He's a one of one. If you got that type of speed, that type of athleticism, all I need you to do is learn how to work with your pace. What does that mean? Start and stop. Can you get a defensive player off balance by threatening him with speed, but have the wherewithal of like, okay, he thinks I'm going fast, let me slow down. Luka's the master at that. So is SGA. You think he's going slow and boom, boom, and he's gone. You know what I'm saying? So with that much explosiveness and speed, I like that what he's doing, he's spotting up for threes. In transition, he's attacking the rim. That's all you got to do in your rookie year. You're going to be a superstar. I think he has extreme superstar talent. Extreme. But you have to develop the habits of a superstar. And the habits of a superstar is like, where's my spot on the floor? Where can I score? If I need a bucket, what can I do? Can I go to my tween cross? Can I go to this midi? Can I get to the rim at will? Can I finish amongst the trees with a layup package? That's what a Kyrie does. Kyrie's 6'2", 6'1", but his layup package is insane. That's why he finishes at the rim so well. So is Curry. But I like that he's shooting threes. I like it a lot. Okay, because that's what he came out of the draft. That was his question mark. Can he get his jumper right? The athleticism's there, the skills, the passing, everything's there. Now, I heard that Chauncey Billups, in a broadcast, they said, Chauncey Billups gives up 3 turnovers a game. 3, oh my God, why are you doing that? Turnovers a game. That's okay. As a rookie, that's okay. Why? Because you build the habit of I can't make dumb decisions. I cannot make dumb decisions. I have to play free, but play smart. And sometimes even Curry doesn't do that sometimes, throwing the ball away carelessly. A guy that plays free and smart, Kyrie, Luka, Dame, D. Mitch. They play free, but they play smart. They're going to cook you, but they're usually not going to shoot themselves in the foot, you know, and affect their team's chance to win in a negative way. You know what I'm saying? That's called being smart. LeBron hasn't played free in a while. It's been years since the last time I saw LeBron play free was maybe he was still in Cleveland. The last time I saw LeBron play free. What I mean free is like King James, give me the ball, and anybody you stand in front of me is barbecue chicken. Whether it's off the dribble, whether I'm posting up, or I'm coming off a screen, whether I'm downhill, coming in semi-transition or transition, like I haven't seen LeBron play for it. LeBron has reined in himself because of his age. He knows he can't overexert himself. AD plays free here and there. Zion has to learn how to play free. You know? Jimmy has to learn that you can play free in the regular season. You know, because he plays free in the playoffs. Joker plays free all the time. That's why he's so good. SGA plays free all the time. That's why he's so good. Creative. You allow your imagination to soar. Use your skills to your advantage. If you know you do things that other people can't do, if you're smart about it, you're unstoppable. You know? And then San Antonio. I like that Wemby's playing free. Finally, they're allowing him to play free. Now, still on this minutes restriction, listen, we're 40-something games in. This man has missed one game because of legitimate, if you want a quote-unquote injury. One game. That shit's out the window, bro. Okay? The narrative is cooked. He won't get hurt. He's a basketball player. He's trained himself and prepares as a professional to not get hurt because he knows his size. Let him play. Some of the plays that he do are absolutely amazing, but they all happen at the end of the fourth quarter, 5 minutes in the fourth quarter when you're getting blown out by 15. If you let him play 30 minutes, we're not even asking for 35, which is a normal workload for a superstar. 35, 36, 37. I am asking for 30 minutes. 30 minutes, he can average 25 and 10. Easily. 25 and 10. Listen, play him like Chet. Play him like Porzingis. I don't understand why we're not doing that. To the Heat, I like that we're starting Jovic. I like it. Are we building his trade value? Maybe. But he's showing us the talent that we saw when we drafted him. Took a couple years, but he's showing us, hey, what you saw is not a fluke. I can be this player. I can be effective. I can pass. I can shoot. You know, he's not a complete defensive liability. He's not Duncan. You know, but I like what I see from him. I like it. Let's move on to the real of real. The real of real. Dolphins Chiefs. I told you. I'm going to give myself a round of applause. Okay? Minus 27 degrees. We have one player on our team that have played in the cold. That's Tyreek. That's it. Tua went from Hawaii to Alabama to Miami. What cold is there? Average temperatures like 85 with humidity. You know, that's what he's played in. And to be honest, you know, they lost 26-7. Did I thought it was going to be closer? No, I did not thought it was going to be closer because of the cold. Also, you guys got to understand something. It don't matter. And go back to Brady for this. It doesn't matter if they look like they're sputtering in the regular season. It doesn't matter if they go through a lull in the regular season. This is an all-time great. He's an all-time great in the playoffs. Always has been. Regardless of his team. Yes, he's had stacked teams before and some of the greatest teams that you can have with weapons. Understandable. But you got to this is Pat Mahomes. He's going to find a way. He's at home in the cold. This is his element. Cold didn't bother him. He passed the ball just fine. Meanwhile, Tua went 20 for 39, 199 yards, 5.1 yards of completion, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. That's not. We ran the ball for 76 yards. I told you that the Chiefs' defense is what they hang their hat on. Steve Spagnuolo has had this defense playing their balls off all year from week 1. You knew that the defense was going to show up. And he holds Raheem to 8. We ran the ball 18 times in the game. 18. Tyreek went 5 for 62 and the long of 53 for a touchdown. That's it. That was the biggest play in our game. Tyreek. And it was a pray ball because it was a pass interference and, Tua kind of just prayed and threw it up there. Tyreek came down with it, juked the defender, and he was gone. But when we look at the Chiefs, Pat went 23 for 41, 262. So nothing crazy. 1 touchdown, no picks. Nothing crazy. Okay? Nothing absolutely extraordinary. But Pacheco got 24 carries for 89 yards and a touchdown. They ran the ball for 147 yards. They ran the ball 34 times. You're in the cold. Passing the ball is usually not that big of an option. Run the football. That is simple football right there. Oh, minus 27. Maybe I should keep passing the ball with the guy that doesn't have a strong arm against this wind. No. Pat Mahomes had 2 big carries for 41 yards, a long of 28. Rashee Rice. Okay, this is why. Shout out to Rashee Rice, the rookie from SMU. This is why, regardless of how the season went, you got to understand that you're still facing Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid in the playoffs. When you give a team the requisite amount of time with no other distractions but your team to focus on, they will find something that you're bad at. Okay? And they will make sure to get the ball into their playmakers' hands. Now, Kelsey had a solid 7 for 71. Along with 22, some first downs. But it was Rashee. Rashee went 8 for 130. An average of 16.3 yards a catch. A touchdown, the long of 39. This kid is their number 1 receiver right now. Does that mean that they won't draft another one? No, I think they should. Whether that's, Keon Coleman, whoever drops there, Adonai Mitchell, Xavier Worthy, whether you want a deep threat or all around big target, I think you should draft another one. But right now, if you give them the requisite amount of time, you gave them a whole week to just study you. Now, yes, this was kind of like, you can look at this, the glass half full, glass half empty. And why? Because we didn't have no edge rushers. 0. We lost all four. We had lost our 2 starting edge rushers and our 2 backups. Only guys healthy were Ingram and Ogba. That's it. So can you say, they couldn't get pressure on Pat or anything? Yeah. I mean, if you don't get pressure on Pat, you're going to get cooked, regardless of the weather. Because he's too good. But at the same time, this is Pat Mahomes. This is the guy with the Mamba Jordan mentality. I'm not gonna quit. I'm gonna find a way to win. Whether there's 1 second left or it's the first quarter. And Andy Reid is that type of coach where it's like, I'm gonna try to win. Regardless of what I have. My goal is to win. And with this defense, they have a chance. Now, if they go on to win the Super Bowl with this team, this puts Andy Reid, it would be his third Super Bowl. This would put Andy Reid, I think, in the top 5 coaches of all time. Because you do this, you do that, you win a ring back to back with the season you had and the lack of production from the wide receiver position and all the drops. It's going to be on the defense, of course. Spags is going to go to the Hall of Fame, But at the same time, it'd be a hell of a coaching job, man. Be a hell of a coaching job. Now, is it going to happen? We will get to that on Thursday. Okay, because that's when we're going to pick the games. Okay? But shout out to Kansas City, man. They came out, took care of business. It's time to go to Buffalo. It's gonna. Hey, that's the new rivalry. That's the new Peyton versus Brady. Allen versus Mahomes. The first one, was a great 13-second game. But the teams are different. All right, next. Browns Texans. Guys, 45-15. Okay? 45-15. And you look at that score, you're like, damn. But this game was kind of over at half. Okay? This game was kind of over at halftime. The Browns could not stop CJ. CJ's one of them ones. And some people said, oh, he's only a pocket quarterback. He can't play out of structure and everything. Go watch the semifinal from last year against Georgia. That's the CJ Stroud that was drafted. Not the guy that you saw at Ohio State for 2 years. That just stayed in the pocket and just delivered. He can do that. But the guy that the Texans drafted, that DeMeco is going to get a coach of the year for, is the guy that was in the semifinal. The guy that can be backing up, throw a fadeaway ball, and it's money. I'm talking about a bucket. Okay? He was the best quarterback arm talent and just overall natural arm talent in the draft. More than Bryce Young. And people knew that. And Carolina's probably kicking themselves because they went up to 1 and took the Oompa Loompa. Granted, they didn't surround them with anything, so they didn't really give them a chance to survive. But still, you see what CJ Stroud's doing. Him and DeMeco Ryans took this franchise from back-to-back top 5 picks to a division championship and now a home playoff win going to the divisional round against the number 1 seed Baltimore Ravens. But let's get to the game. Joe Flacco, 34-46, 307. Sounds good, right? But then you go a touchdown and 2 picks. And we're not talking about just 2 picks. Okay? We're not talking about just 2 picks. We're talking about pick sixes. Okay? You cannot do that. Cannot do that. Shout out to Christian Harris, Alabama. DeMeco, where's he from? Alabama. Will Anderson, Alabama. If you look at that team, their quarterback, Ohio State. Left tackle, Laramie Tunsil, Ole Miss. Will Anderson, Alabama. Christian Harris, Alabama. Derek Stingley Jr., LSU. That's what, you know what that is? That's called picking from the pick of the litter. Okay? The top of the top. You're not looking at, oh, I'm going to go pick this guy from Arizona State. No offense to the Sun Devils. Oh, I'm going to pick this guy from, I'm going to pick this guy from Vandy. No offense. Nah, I'm going to pick this guy from the top of the top. From the people that curate talent better than anybody else in college football. Nick Saban, LSU, Kirby Smart, Georgia, Ole Miss, SEC. Okay? The top of the SEC. That's where real players are made. You know what I'm saying? Those are people that impact immediately. And you say, oh, what about CJ? CJ's the first Ohio State quarterback that actually went to Ohio State and stayed because Joe Burrow doesn't count. He went to LSU. Oh, guess what? SEC school. That, panned out. Finally. After JT Barrett, Cardale Jones, RIP, all of them failed. And CJ, has excelled. And it's funny because look what he's throwing to. His number one receiver, Nico, Michigan. It's been a while since a Michigan receiver has kind of dominated. I mean, if you talk about Michigan receivers, Mario Manningham with Eli Manning in the second Super Bowl that they won against Brady was one of the last ones you can think about. Donovan Peoples-Jones with the Lions now. Formerly of the Bears, of the Browns. But Nico's the real deal. Now, back to the Browns. 2 picks, pick sixes. They couldn't run the ball. They ran the ball 56 yards. Texans held them down. 8 for 26 for Kareem. 9 for 17 for Jerome Ford. Passing. 7 for 93 for Njoku. Harrison Bryant, your 2 tight ends were the leading receivers. Amari, 4 for 59. So he didn't have that giant game that he had last time. The record game. Okay? Myles Garrett was pretty held in check. No sacks. No sacks. That offensive line held up. Laramie Tunsil held up. Okay? But let's go to CJ. 16 for 21. Nothing crazy. Hey, he didn't even throw it that much. 21 times. Hey, 21 attempts in this NFL? Hey, that's conservative. Okay, for Bobby Slowick. And shout out to Bobby Slowick, man. Shout out to Bobby Slowick. Another guy, another OC that came from that Washington team that Mike Shanahan had with RG3s in his rookie year. You can add him to McVay, Kyle, McDaniel, O'Connell, LaFleur. You gotta, that is insane from one staff to have so many good offensive minds, elite offensive minds, young. All of them are going to be head coaches. Most of them are. And Bobby will be the next one. And exceeding. 16 for 21, 274, 3 touchdowns, no picks. 3 touchdowns, no picks. This man tied the rookie record for touchdowns by a rookie in a playoff game in the first half. In the first half. He could have thrown 6 if he wanted to. But guess what? 2 pick sixes. So, let's just run the ball, run the clock out, we out. You get what I'm saying? Devin Singletary, 13 for 66. They only ran the ball for 76 yards, but they didn't need to do anything when the defense played that well. When the defense played that well, you don't really need to do anything. You get what I'm saying? Now, Nico went 6 for 96 and a touchdown along a 38. Brevin Jordan had that 76-yard beautiful. Just when you talk about a tight end, right? He's from UM too, just like Njoku. When you talk about a tight end, what makes a tight end not elite, but what separates a tight end from Miles? He's just a tight end safety blanket. Speed. Okay, if you have a tight end that can outrun safeties and corners, you have a weapon. Okay, and what'd he do? CJ got pressured. The guy that was supposed to go with Brevin Jordan, because Brevin Jordan sold the 1-2 count of the block, then released on a little bit on the flat. CJ throws a little globe, just a floating globe to him. He catches it, makes one guy miss, hits the seam, and I'm out ya. That boy hit the spray button. And peace. Second longest receiving for pass for a tight end in playoff history to, one of the GOATs, Shannon Sharp. He had a 98-yarder, which I don't think that'll be broken anytime soon. So he went 1 for 76, one catch, but if he made it count. John Mechie showed up a little bit. Alabama. He's gonna be better. He's gonna be more of a focus these next few however much they go into the playoffs, because there is no Tank Dell, so you need that other guy. Nico Collins just went on the Noah Brown just went on that IR. So you're not gonna have that. So John Mechie has to show up. He's from Alabama. I think he will. He did pretty well this game. For his standards of not doing much. He went 3 for 44, along with 27. That's good on 3 targets. Dalton Schultz went 1 for 37. The one was a touchdown. A beautiful pass. I mean, CJ dropped it on a bucket. This team is playing really, really well. Really well. This is a well-oiled machine on offense. And if you don't pressure, even if you pressure CJ, he might just throw it up there. And it's so accurate that 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a bucket. It's going to be a seed. So I'm really impressed with CJ. Going to Baltimore next week is going to be tough. It's going to be cold. Lamar, number 1 seed. But, I really like it. I really like it. Okay. Shout out to Christian Harris too on that play, man. He dropped it in week 18. Same play. Stick nod. Stick route by the tight end. Same play. He dropped it. And he knew it too. It was in the red zone. Not this time. Cut that shit off. As soon as that boy turned, he was watching the quarterback and he baited him into that. Baited him. We want to talk about a dude that did the same thing in the Dallas game. Same play. Same result. Pick 6. Why? Predictable, man. 3rd and 2. Why are you going to throw a inside slant on 3rd and 2? The box is already packed. That is dumb. That's a dumb joke. How? Oh, my go-to play is going to be an inside slant. An inside slant. When the outside corner has outside leverage, so he doesn't even have to worry about an outbreaking route. Because they watch film. Christian Harris watches the eyes. Boom, I'm taking it. You don't do that. You don't do that. The Steven Nelson pick. Flacco, I know that you're trying to throw it away. Put your all into it. Try to throw that shit in the 3rd row. You're in field goal range. It was 2nd down. It was like 2nd and 2. Pick 6. Changes the game. Game was almost over at that point. He was driving, trying to get them back in it because they were down. They were down 10. And boom. Down 17. Next play. Boom. Down 24. Game over. You know? So shout out to the Texans. Shout out to the Texans. I like what I'm seeing. Now we'll see what happens when, two juggernauts on both sidelines. DeMeco is showing that he will be here for a long, long time. Guess what? Another Kyle Shanahan dude. Just like Robert Saleh on the defensive side. Just like Steve Wilks, he's getting looks already for head coaching again. Kyle Shanahan's defense. I think DeMeco's the best out of all three of them. Because DeMeco, in his own right, was a very good middle linebacker. A very good middle linebacker when he played for the Texans. Him and J.J. Watt were amazing. Okay? But, DeMeco's just one of those guys that it's kind of like a Tomlin. You just know. You just know that every time you face him on the other side of the sideline, you're going to get a fight. His team not going to quit. He's going to be disciplined. They're going to play hard. And they're going to try to hit you in the mouth. Every single play on both sides of the ball. He has his team playing well, man. Young team. Has his team playing really well. The defense is playing really, free, loose. They're not thinking. Really good. So shout out to Houston. Packers, Cowboys. I told you. Hey, I picked the Cowboys. Yes. Okay, we can laugh about that all the time, all we want, right? 48-32, it wasn't that close. 48-32, it was not that close. Let me repeat, it was not that close. This shit was 46-16 with 5 minutes left, okay? Dallas does this all the time. Garbage time, touchdowns to make the game closer. This shit was not close. And it's amazing to me how you go 16-0 at home. And if a team wins the coin toss and you can't stop them and they score 7-0, you're already behind the 8 ball. But you're already behind the 8 ball mentally. Mentally weak. It's down 7-0, first quarter, whole game to go, and you cannot recover. At all. At all. You can't recover at all. You're so distressed and discombobulated that you and your best receiver are not on the same page for a whole half. For a whole half. Now, one of the things that people don't say that had bit Dallas in the ass this year is the lack of the running game. You paid Tony Pollard, you got rid of Ezekiel Elliott, and you can't run the ball. You couldn't run the ball all season. You guys were known to get 100-yard, 200-yard cumulative rushing days from your backs. Couldn't do it this year. Could not. You let a defense that was getting cooked in social media, a DC that was getting cooked on all type of airwaves, whether it was Pat McAfee and Ty Schmidt just roasting Joe Barry, to looking like an all-pro defense. Same players. And you supposedly had the second best defense in the league. Most sacks and all that. Micah, nothing. Why? Aaron Jones. Oh, but he didn't do much. What are you talking about, bro? 4 straight 100-yard games since coming back from injury. I told you he was the best player on that team. From day one. Once Devontae and Aaron left, the best player on that offense is Aaron Jones. He showed it yesterday. They couldn't stop him. Okay? Another one-on-ones. Hey, I don't know how. Gotta give credit to Gutekunst. Gotta give credit to that Green Bay scouting department. 3-4-3. 30 years of constant hits at the quarterback position. From Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, now to Jordan Love. I don't know how you do that. But I bet the Panthers, Patriots, you have the Raiders, you have so many, they wish they had that type of luck. Jordan Love one-on-ones. And he reminds me of A-Rod. Oh, how could you say that? Oh my God. A-Rod's a 4-time MVP, legend, one of the greatest of all time. Yeah, look at him play. Look at him play. Same type of throws, leaning back, the Favre, no feet on the ground, all arm talent, accuracy, the gunslinger mentality, but he's smart. This is the youngest receiving core in the league. This is the youngest team to ever make it to the playoffs since I think 1967. You don't do that by accident. You got to have some talent. And Jordan Love is one of them ones. Him and CJ Stroud were basically perfect. 157.2 passer rating because of one incompletion at the end of the game. If not, Jordan Love would have had a 158.3. Non-stop attacking. Couldn't stop Romeo Doubs on third down. Couldn't stop Tucker Kraft. Couldn't stop Musgrave that came back. Jaden Reed barely touched the ball. Barely. They didn't even throw him the ball. That's their number one receiver. Christian Watson didn't touch the ball. He came back. It was all Bo Melton, Musgrave, Dobbs, and Wicks. That was it. And Aaron Jones. That was it. And Dallas got cooked. Cooked. I'm talking about fried, deep fried. On both sides. No answer. No pressure on Jordan. No stop in the running game. From snap one. First handoff, 7 yards. 8 yards for Aaron Jones. Untouched, 5 yards into the second level. Frauds. Okay? Fraud. 16 to 21. 16 to 20. Same stat line as CJ. Same. 16 to 21, 272. CJ had 273 or 274. Same stat line. 3 touchdowns, no picks. Same. 157.2. Same QB rating. Aaron Jones, 21 for 118. Along the 27, 3 touchdowns, all in the first half. 3 touchdowns. Don't tell me that you have a good offense, a good defense. Oh, but we have a good defense. Listen, this is the NFC East. You are the biggest frauds possible. And the reason why is because half of your schedule you're beating up on poverty franchises. The Giants hasn't smelled success since Eli Manning. And the Commanders haven't smelled success since Joe Theismann. Okay? Since Joe Theismann, they haven't seen success. Okay, since Coach Joe Gibbs. Guess what? He's a NASCAR owner right now. He's won more championships as a NASCAR owner than as an NFL owner. That's what you're beating up on. 8 games and then you have the Eagles. That maybe give you a game. Everybody else, you face Atlanta, you face the Saints. You ain't facing nobody, man. You ain't facing nobody. So when you get to the playoffs, what happens? Oh, we've never faced adversity. And then this happens. Except you didn't even make it to the divisional round this time. You got knocked out at home as a 2 seed against a 7 seed. First 7 seed to ever win a playoff game. And it happens against Jerry Jones' Cowboys. You didn't come ready to play at all. Aaron Jones cooked you. Romeo Doubs, 6 for 151 and a touchdown. First 100-yard game of his career. Of his career? Deron Bland, All-Pro. Gilly, future Hall of Famer. Cooked. Alive. No answer. 3rd and 10. Dobbs is 22 yards down the field. Wide open. Wide open. I'm talking about wide open. There was not nobody 10 yards close to him. And of course, Jordan Love is going to drop dimes. And then you have Dontavian Wicks cooked Gilly because he cooked him alive on that touchdown. Inside, give him an outside move, and boom. And the ball was right there. You know? So, you know, all this talk about the Cowboys and everything like that, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. You know? Do you have to get rid of Dak? Maybe. I know you got to get rid of Mike McCarthy. You know, Jerry Jones is like, I don't want to talk about the coaching situation right now and everything. He was floored. That's what he said to the media. He was floored. Floored. Because his team absolutely disappointed him. Okay? That's horrible for your owner to say. Awful. You know, so, and let's look at the box score. So you actually see like, oh, Jair Alexander's pick. Wow. What a pick. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible pick. And I told my dad for the second pick, I was like, they're going to CD. Had him. Number 2, 3x1. Classic. Inside slant. Darnell Savage says, nope, I'm taking that. Pick 6. Game over. But to me, the way I saw it, game was over first drive. First drive, game was over. 12 plays, drove them right down the field. Aaron Jones touchdown. Unstoppable. Okay? And like I said, like Jordan Love went 272. This is not a 350. This is not 400. This is one guy. Romeo Doubs, 6 for 151 on 6 targets. A touchdown. Luke Musgrave, 3 for 52. Dontavian Wicks, 2 for 25. Tucker Kraft, 2 for 15. Aaron Jones, 1 for 13. Christian Watson, 1 for 9. Bo Melton, 1 for 7. Jaden Reed, 0 for 0 on 3 targets. That's their best receiver. So you hold their best receiver, or you think you held their best receiver to nothing, and then you get cooked by everybody else. Cooked. Okay? Let's look at the famous Cowboy stat line here. 41 for 60. Dak threw the ball 60 times. Most of that, let's be honest, they can't run the ball. 60 times, though? 403 yards. 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Hey, those touchdowns, garbage. Garbage time. Don't tell me about those. Don't tell me about those touchdowns. Okay? Tony Pollard, 15 for 56. Dak went 6 for 45. You know what I'm saying? Sorry about that. If you guys can hear the lawnmower in the background. Just cutting the grass outside. CD went 9 for 110, but that was all in the second half. You get what I'm saying? Like, first half, they didn't have no chemistry. They were talking on the sideline, like, arguing. Not really arguing, but like, you could tell that Dak and CD were just not on the same page. Just not on the same page. In a playoff game at home, and you're like that? You ain't going nowhere, man. You ain't going nowhere. Get out of here with that, bro. You go 18 weeks, you don't have that, and then you have that problem first half of the playoff game? At home? Get out of here, dude. Michael Gallup, 6 for 103. He was the only one that actually kind of showed up. Jake Ferguson, another one that showed up, 10 for 93. He was kind of like the only guy that really showed up. That like when they needed a spark, you would throw it to him and move a touchdown. or he would get a first down. You know? But other than that, the defense did nothing. Micah, front runner. Front runner. If you cannot change the game when the chips are down and you need a play in the playoffs, you ain't that guy. You could have all the gifts in the world, be compared to LT and everything, but you ain't that guy. You know? It is what it is. You're not a Von Miller. You're not an Aaron Donald. You're not a Chris Jones. I'm sorry. Those guys get it done. Okay? The 2 Super Bowls that Kansas City has won, who's been their best defensive player? Chris Stone Cold Jones. The Rams Super Bowl, who dominated the game? Aaron Donald. Go back to the Broncos, who dominated the game? Von Miller. You got to understand that to be one of those guys, you got to show up in the big moments when your team needs you. And you didn't do that. You've never done it. Me and Stephen A. told you. We told you. Be patient. They won't let you down. And that's exactly what happened. Now, I expected it not to be against Green Bay and not in this fashion, but I knew it was going to happen either way. Now, Green Bay goes to San Francisco. That's going to be interesting. It's a hell of a game. Now, compared to Dallas, who is CD dependent, 49ers are not one player dependent. Trent Williams and Kittle, Ayuk, Debo, CMC, Joanne Jennings. You got to stop somebody. You got to focus on somebody, and somebody else going to hurt you. So on the running and passing. So shout out to Green Bay. Shout out to Matt LaFleur shutting everybody up. Remember when Aaron left? And people say, oh, Matt LaFleur is not a good coach. He couldn't win with Aaron. Yeah. Look at that offense now. Matt LaFleur is one of the best coaches in the league. Now, do I believe that Jordan Love is a product of that 3 years of incubation by Aaron Rodgers? Yeah, but so was Aaron Rodgers. The 3 years of incubation behind Brett Favre. And you could tell by the way they play. The throws, the confidence, the swag. You can tell. A little bit of Favre, little bit of Aaron in them. And look at the schools that they came from. I'd be talking about SEC and everything, but look at the schools that all 3 of them came from. Brett Favre, Southern Miss. Not an SEC school. Not even a Big 10 school. I don't think it's a Big 12 school. Okay? You go to Aaron, California. Pac-12. Doesn't even exist anymore. Haven't been relevant since then. Since Marshawn Lynch. Haven't been relevant. And they were teammates. And then you go to Jordan Love, Nevada. These are not big school guys. They're looking for traits. They saw the traits that they thought were just like Aaron and Brett, and they took them. And the uproar, oh, they're going to get rid of Aaron and everything. Yeah, but they groomed the next one for the next 15 years. So maybe they can keep stacking Lombardis. That's a hell of an organization. And for it to be the oldest and the most storied, for it to be Lambeau, the land that the land that Lombardi built. I don't know if it's the hand of God or it's just great scouting. But for 30 years, they have not got it wrong at that position when it comes to the starting job. That's a hell of a job. Shout out to the Packers. Rams, Lions. Hey, we knew it was going to be close. 23-24, and I was sweating. 23-24, and I was sweating. Why was I sweating? Because Stafford is still that guy. Stafford is still that guy. Puka Nacua will be a menace for 10 plus years in this league. Cooper Kupp is still elite. Kyren Williams is a hell of a running back. But I said that MCDC would have this team ready to play. And this was back and forth. This was back and forth. And what was the difference? Red zone efficiency. Red zone efficiency. That was the name of the game. Settling for field goals while the Detroit Lions settle for touchdowns. Rams 0 of 3 in the red zone. 0 for 3. That's the game. That's the game. Okay? And then the defense for Detroit bowed up. Bend but don't break. That's the name of the game in the playoffs. You know that they're going to move the ball between the 20s, man. Unless you have an elite defense that forces 3 and outs or just one first down and get off the field and forcing punts. It's going to be 20-20 and you're 20-20, and then you have to bow up and survive the red zone. And they did. Now, this game was pins and needles from snap 1. Okay? But shout out to Jared Goff, man. Shout out to Jared Goff. And you know what? Something Dak doesn't do, Dak gets on his best player, right? When, they're not clicking. Yeah, Jared Goff just says, yo, where's Amon-Ra? Because I need a play. Okay? I need a play. I need something. We need some juice. We need a key first down to get our first home win in 32 years. And guess what? He went to the sun god, Amon-Ra. You know, let's go through the stats. 23-24. Stafford, 25 for 36, 367, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He played well. Really well. He played like Stafford. You know what I'm saying? He had a 120.8 QB, 120.9 QB rating. He played great. Kyren Williams, 13 for 61. That is where you wished it was a little bit more. You know? That Detroit defense held its own. Puka, 9 for 181. Rookie record in the playoffs. Okay? And a touchdown. The long of 50. All their touchdowns were 25 plus outside the red zone. Okay, yeah, because the Detroit defense is susceptible in the back end. Cam Sutton, they're susceptible. But they held on. Just enough. Demarcus Robinson, 3 for 44. Tutu Atwell had 1 for 38 and that touchdown. You know, Ronnie Rivers, Davis Allen. Cooper Kupp, 6 for 27. That right there. That right there. You hold down a first ballot Hall of Famer to 5 for 27 when you know he could get open. Very good. I mean, but you let his understudy and the guy that's going to take over for him, 9 for 181. He cooked you. Couldn't tackle him. The guy's big, bounces off, DKs type shit. It's faster than you think. Way tougher than you ever would think looking at him. Guy's a great receiver, man. Great receiver. But Aaron Donald got held up this game. Just enough. He made some pressures, but he didn't make that big play. The strip sack. That big sack on 3rd down. The 4th down stop. He did not do that. And MCDC went for it on 4th down quite a bit. Jared Goff, 22 for 27, 277. What efficiency. Okay, 121.8 QB rating. They didn't even run the ball that much, but it was enough. 14 for 57 for Montgomery. Jameer went 8 for 25. Both of them got touchdowns. Back to back, too. Back to back. Montgomery got the first one. Jameer got the second one. You know what I'm saying? Amon-Ra, 7 for 110. No touchdown. But he went 7 for 110, especially. And on third down, that guy's a menace. You know where he's going. I called it last play of the game before the knees. I called it. I said, Amon-Ra. What do you run? A curl route. At the sticks. Jared Goff right on the money. There was only one place he was going. There was only one place he was going to live and die by his best player. By his all-pro. Shout out to him too, all-pro. You know what I'm saying? He got snubbed from the Pro Bowl team. That doesn't matter. You got an all-pro. That's the important thing. The all-pros will get you in the Hall of Fame. That's what people look at. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Amon-Ra. Josh Reynolds, 5 for 80. Beginning of the game. Was playing really well. Jameer, 4 for 43. This is why you draft this kid, man. This is why you draft this kid. Elusive, fast, powerful. Everything you need. He was compared to Alvin Kamara out of the draft. Oh, you can't take a... You know, everybody was like, you can't take a running back first round more and even less at 11 overall. Guess what? When he's that talented, sometimes common sense doesn't apply. Or not common sense, because it is common sense to take him if he's there. Because if you go outside of position and you just go talent, he was one of the top 5 talented people in the draft. Right there with Bijan. You know what I'm saying? Don't give me like, oh, you can't draft. If it's not the right running back, no, don't draft him. But if it's a guy like this, CMC, Alvin Kamara-ish, yeah, you take the risk. Because the benefits is so much more than what you realize. Especially in the passing game. Explosive. Jameson Williams showed up, 2 catches for 19 yards. Hey, but just get him a little bit more involved. Little by little. This guy's a home run threat. But if he learns how to run routes, and I think that'll happen this offseason, he'll start taking route running, the craft, more seriously. He was coming back from the ACL this year. Trying to get back to his full speed. I think he's there. But he works on his route running. And he becomes an absolute menace because he has Amon-Ra on the other side. He has Laporta as a tight end. And speaking of Laporta, he went 3 for 14. Caught a touchdown. He went 3 for 14. Their second best receiver statistically in the season went 3 for 14. So you held him in check, but you cannot hold number 1 in check. Number 14, the Sun God, cooked you. Okay, and I said about that Rams defense, I did not know if this secondary could deal with the offensive onslaught at the receiver position that the Lions present. And they couldn't. Now, they bowed up a little bit, the Rams, in the second half, and they made it close because all they had to do was give Stafford the ball. But when they needed it the most, when they needed the stop, they got it. They got it. With 4 minutes left, they got the ball back, got 2 first downs, and need it. Shout out to Jared Goff, man. Shout out to Jared Goff. Shout out to MCDC. Shout out to that whole team, the GM, owner. They deserve it, man. 32 years without a playoff win, and this one at home. Now you got a shot. Now you got a shot to go to the NFC Championship. You face the Bucs. You beat them in week 2, I believe, or week 6. 20-6. Now you got a legit shot. You get what I'm saying? Shout out to the Detroit Lions, man. Shout out. And then finally, Steelers Bills. Another cold ass game. 31-17. What did this game show you? As soon as Ken Dorsey got fired, shout out to McDermott for doing that, this offense has turned around. Why? The run game. They actually run the ball. They give the ball to the guy that they drafted out of Georgia, whose genes and brother is a legendary running back. And you guys say, oh, Dalvin's not legendary. It's like, well, if you look at his numbers and the time that he spent in the league in Minnesota, yeah, he's pretty legit. It's pretty legit. This is his brother. A little skinnier, a little bit more shiftier. You know, because Dalvin came out like a generational talent out of FSU. You know, James Cook was more like a scat back, you know, catch the ball at the backfield, but he can run it in between tackles. You see it. He's not fumbling. It's cold, not fumbling. You know what I'm saying? And this game was a little bit closer than what it should be because Freiermuth fumbled that ball, and that ball was not out of bounds. It did not touch his helmet. And they gave him the benefit of the doubt, said the call stands, and then they went down and scored to Deontay Johnson. But I said that you cannot stop Josh Allen if you don't got TJ Watt. You're 1-9 without TJ. Okay? Rudolph is your third string quarterback. Regardless if you think he's your best quarterback, he's your third string quarterback. You don't use George Pickens. Had a hell of a catch over the middle. But you don't use him. George Pickens is to be used like a Marvin Harrison Jr. will be used in, I believe, Arizona next year. George Pickens is to be used like a CeeDee Lamb was used the whole season. Tyreek, Amon-Ra. That's the type of talent that George Pickens is. But if you don't got a guy that can throw him the ball consistently all the time, you ain't going to do nothing. And you couldn't run the ball. Ran the ball for 106 yards. Warren went for 8 for 38, which I think he should start. I think at this point, you should start Jaylen Warren. Najee went 12 for 37. Like, no, you don't run the ball. Mason, 22 for 39, 229, 2 touchdowns and a pick. That's it. There's nothing there, man. There's nothing there. Pratt Freiermuth was their best receiver, 5 for 76. George went 5 for 50 on 11 targets. That means you missed them 6 times. Deontay went 4 for 48 with a touchdown. Calvin Austin got a touchdown, 1 for 7. That's it. What did the defense do? Nothing. Nothing. Because Josh Allen, when he needed that drive, when he needed that score, he busted his, longest career run at 52 yards. And it wasn't just a straight run. No, it was a fake. He kept it, took it in the left side B gap, cut outside, shook the shit out of the safety. And then they missed 2 tackles on him. And then he pulled away. This guy's 6'6". 230, 6'5", 6'4", 230, pulled away from you in the cold. Touchdown. Basically ended the game. You know what I'm saying? Look at his numbers. 21 for 30, 203. That's not Josh Allen numbers. 3 touchdowns, no picks though. 121.9 passer rating. QB rating. You know what I'm saying? And then Cook gives you 18 for 79, 4.4 yards a carry. That's what you need. Josh Allen went 8 for 74. 8 for 74 from the quarterback. Him and Mahomes, him and Lamar are the only ones doing that. Maybe Justin Fields, but he's not in the playoffs. We're talking about playoff quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? Dalton Kincaid, 3 for 59 and a touchdown. Stephon Diggs, 752. Nobody got over 60 yards receiving. And this shouldn't have been this close. Now, Buffalo is the one team that I believe it could beat Baltimore. Because they're playing that hot. Now, they got to beat Mahomes, though. Now, they get it at home. First time Mahomes goes on the road in his playoff career. But it's still Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be cold. That doesn't matter. You got 2 nuclear weapon arms. That doesn't matter. They're going to throw the ball. Ball will be thrown. It's going to come down to the defenses. Who can hold who? Who can hold who? Who's going to have rush lane integrity for the QB runs. Who can cover Stephon Diggs? Who can cover Rashee Rice? Who can cover Travis Kelce? Who can cover Dalton Kincaid? That's what it's going to come down to. Who can run the ball? Isaiah Pacheco or James Cook? Is it going to be a defensive coach, Sean McDermott, or is it going to be Andy Reid, offensive coach? In the cold to go to another AFC championship. Okay? We're going to keep seeing this. These two guys aren't going nowhere. These are two legends. One's a legend already, and the other one's a legend in the making, basically. I mean, you give 2-3 more years of this, and he's a Hall of Famer. Josh Allen. So, you're talking about two guys that know what it takes to win. Josh Allen came 13 seconds, and he wasn't even on the field when they lost. It was his defense that cooked them. You know what I'm saying? So, I think it's going to be a great game. And then for Pittsburgh, you got one Super Bowl in the last 10 years or something like that. One. First round exit. After first round exit. What are you doing? It's time for Tomlin to go. Did you guys see the press conference? Tomlin was standing in front right after the game, and a reporter asked him, Tomlin, coach, you have 1 year left. Before he can even finish the sentence, Tomlin was walking out of the press conference. He don't want to hear about that shit. He just lost another playoff game. He's cold. Wants to go back home. And you have 1 more year on your contract. And as soon as she finished the sentence, Tomlin was out the door. No words. That's going to be a meme forever. It's going to be a meme whenever. It's going to be like a gif. A gif. Whenever somebody says, oh, somebody's asking me a stupid question, walk out the door. You know what I'm saying? I think that it's time to go. I think the culture there is based on its history. But you need a different voice in there. You need a guy on the offensive side of the ball. Because if not, you're going to lose George Pickens to free agency when his rookie contract's up. Because he don't want to come back to a guy that won't throw him the ball. You know? Like, you're going to waste TJ Watt's career. He still doesn't have a Super Bowl. Just like his brother. You got to understand when 17 years, but 17 years of one Super Bowl. 17 years of winning seasons, but one Super Bowl. Have not gotten the quarterback right since Ben Roethlisberger. And he was there when you got there because Bill Cowher handed him to you. Can't get the quarterback right. Can't use your receivers right. Can't run the ball effectively. I'm talking about effectively from start one of the season to the last game of the season. Effectively. Cannot do it. And no TJ Watt, your defense falls apart. One guy. You know? That's just me. I think Tomlin should either not hang it up because he's young, but or young relative to coaching, even though he's the longest tenured coach in the NFL now that Bill Belichick and Pete Carroll have retired, have ended their tenures. But I think that, I think that it's time to go, man. I think that it's time to go. Personally. And I don't know what you do at quarterback. Are you gonna write it out with Kenny Pickett? Are you going to make it a competition in the offseason at training camp with him and Mason Rudolph? You're going to show up to your division with Kenny Pickett or Mason Rudolph when you're facing Deshaun, Joe Burrow, Lamar? And you might say, oh, but Deshaun wasn't even that good and everything. He'll be healthy next year. I think he'll do better. Certainly better than Kenny Pickett. I can promise you that. So I think it's time. But all I'm hearing is that and crickets. Okay? We're hearing that and crickets. Because it's a bad joke. 17 winning seasons, 1 Super Bowl. Can't make it to the AFC Championship. Can't even make it to the divisional round. 1 and done. No spark on the offense. Can't get the quarterback right. Great defense, but not complementary football. Archaic offense. Screens. Slants. Not taking advantage of the talent. It's time to go. It's time to go. Shout out to the Bills, man. Shout out to the Bills. Eagles, Buccaneers. I told you. Okay? I'm going to give myself a round of applause. I told you. This defense will get cooked. They cannot cover Mike Evans. They can't cover Chris Godwin. It wasn't even them. It was Kate Otten. Okay? It was Trey Palmer. Okay? That's who cooked you. David Moore. You know what I'm saying? I told you. This defense will get cooked. This offense hasn't played well all season. They've disappointed all season. And no A.J. Brown, well, let's use the Slim Reaper. Too little, too late. Too little, too late. They didn't run the ball. They ran the ball, what? 15 times. I think they ran the ball 3 times in the first half. 3 times. And 2 of them were the first 2 plays. And they got first downs on those. They go away from it. They try to get pass happy. And Todd Bowles and just blitzed them all game long. Blitzed them. Why? Because since the 49er game, the 49ers have said Jalen Hurts stares at the rush. He does not look up. So you can bait him into mistakes. You can bait him into overthrows. You can confuse him because he's staring at the rush. He's worried about the rush more than his routes. More than the coverage. 25 for 35, 250, a touchdown. DeAndre Swift, 10 carries, 34 yards. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. If I'm him, I'm pissed. Pissed. Why'd you get me if you're not going to give me the ball when it matters? We have one of the best offensive lines in the league. Oh, it's a stacked box. It doesn't matter. If you're a good running back, you're going to run against a stacked box anyway. Give me the ball. Didn't do it. Devontae Smith, 8 for 148. Along a 55, that beautiful ball. Everybody else, your running back, 4 for 32. That's your second leading receiver. Julio Jones, 3 for 22. He's hurt, concussion. He might retire. Dallas Goedert, 4 for 21. He got hurt. That's it. Your defense didn't do nothing. Your defense is 32-9. Your defense didn't do shit. Like all year. Tackling. Guys, you learn how to tackle in Pop Warner. Number 1 rule when you are tackling in the open field. Break down. Set yourself up a basis so you know where you're going to hit. Don't be over leveraged on one side. Don't overcommit because these guys will shake you. That's what this league is known for now, getting shook. Tampa Bay knows how to tackle. You could tell they practice it. Eagles haven't tackled all year. Arm tackling. Tackling at the top instead of wrapping up the legs. Horrible technique. Over pursuing angles. A laughingstock. Matt Patricia, get fired. Desai, fired. Now they're calling Sirianni's job in question. After reaching the Super Bowl last year, that is unheard of. 3 playoff seasons in a row, reaching a Super Bowl, and you're getting talked about getting fired. Because your defense stunk it up and your offense. Let's talk about Baker. 22 for 36, 337, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Wonderful. Him and Brady, the only guys to throw for 300 yards in a playoff game for Tampa Bay. And he's the first guy to throw for 3 touchdowns and no picks. You know what I'm saying? Rachaad White, 18 for 72. Good. That's serviceable. That's serviceable enough. Cade Otton, their tight end. The rookie tight end, 8 for 89. David Moore, another rookie, 8-year pro that it came from Carolina. 2 for 66 and a touchdown, along a 44. Bad tackling. Trey Palmer, a rookie. Bad tackling. 56-yard bomb. 1 catch. And it wasn't even a bomb. He just made Bradbury look stupid and then ran away because he runs a 4.33. Mike Evans went 3 for 48, and he should have had a touchdown. He dropped a touchdown first half. This game should have not been close. It wasn't close, and it should have been 40-something to 9. Because there was drops everywhere. Cade dropped 3. Mike dropped 2 of them. Godwin went 4 for 45 and a touchdown. You know what I'm saying? Like, even with the drops and everything, this defense stood up to this Eagles offense. Lavonte David. I don't know. I think he might be in the Hall of Fame, man. 14 years. Hey. Now, let's talk about a Hall of Famer that is for sure retiring, because he said it today. He said it in the locker room to his teammates. Jason Kelce. Greatest center of all time. Okay? Consensus by everybody. Greatest center of all time. Shout out, man. Hell of a career. Now, go do Gridiron Heights with your brother. It's incredible how that family has 2 GOATs at their position. Greatest center of all time, greatest tight end of all time. Brothers. Incredible. At the professional level. That's absolutely incredible. Shout out to him. He played his ass off, but Hurts was out of sorts all night. They couldn't get anything going on the ground because they wouldn't give the ball. They wouldn't run the ball. Overthrows. Great defense. Antoine Winfield Jr. Another all-pro. Shout out to Tampa Bay, man. Now, you go to San Francisco. You go to Detroit with a chance. Baker Mayfield, Jared Goff. 2 number 1 picks. With a chance to go to the NFC Championship. Hey, anything can happen. We will break down Thursday. I appreciate you all. We went 4-2, so we're still positive, even in the playoffs, which is harder to pick because like I said, any given Sunday. Don't believe the hype that you hear from everybody in the media. Do not. Watch the game. Learn the game. I knew the Cowboys were frauds from day one. Why? Because they've shown me for 6 years that they're frauds. I knew the Eagles were frauds even against a team like Tampa Bay where everybody thinks like, oh, it's Tampa Bay. They made it there because it's tank division. The defense cannot tackle. They haven't tackled for 5 weeks. For 6 weeks. Oh, the Steelers can do something. No, they cannot. 3rd string quarterback. This is common sense, guys. The only reason I didn't pick the Packers is because Jordan Love is in his first year starting, and they were they were on the road against a team that had won 16 in a row. That's the only reason, and the defense was kind of suspect. That's the only reason I didn't pick the Packers. The only reason I did not pick the Texans is because it's a rookie quarterback with a rookie head coach against the number 1 defense and a guy that was slinging the ball and had already won a Super Bowl MVP and a Super Bowl. That's the only reason. Other than that, I would have picked and gone 6-0. Not making excuses. I'm just letting you know, like, the margins are that thin. Okay? And sometimes you also got to believe what you see and what you've seen. You didn't pick the Dolphins. You picked Kansas City. Of course, it's cold and it's Patrick Mahomes. The playoffs are a different animal. And legends are made in the playoffs. Guess what? You were facing an absolute legend, a GOAT. It's Brady and him. That's it. If you look at their numbers, if you look at the efficiency, if you look at just statistical dominance in the playoffs, it's Brady and him. And Montana. Back in the day, the original GOAT. You get what I'm saying? Like, you got to know what you're watching. You got to know what you're watching. MCDC, they were at home. They were at home. They've cooked people at home. The offense rolls at home. Yes, Stafford is a threat, but MCDC is a hell of a coach. They had the momentum. The energy was in the building. It was a close game, maybe the biggest toss-up of the week. But I felt like the Lions had enough, and they did. You know, sometimes you just got to see it. Don't listen to what, Nick Wright and, like everybody first take. And you're like, hey, watch the game. You'll learn a whole of a lot more than listening to pundits that are paid to talk about the Dallas Cowboys constantly and the Lakers. If you watch the game, you know what's up. The first red flag for the Cowboys was the 49ers. They had no shot. 42-10. Zero shot. That's what you had to know. The Philadelphia Eagles, 10-1. Was their offense clicking? No. Since week 1, their offense was not clicking. Those tendencies tend to stick around. And then you give the benefit of the doubt to the guys who have proven to you that can get it done, regardless of what their situation is. Patrick Mahomes. Now we'll talk about the games. Next week we have Chiefs Bills at the Bills. We have Texans Baltimore in Baltimore, both cold ass games. Packers 49ers in Santa Clara. And then we have Buccaneers at Lions in the Dome at Ford Field. It's going to be hell of game. Hell of games. It's going to be really good. We'll talk about it Thursday. Thank you very much. I love you guys all. Super exciting. We'll talk about maybe if any news comes about the coachings and everything like that. We'll talk about that on Thursday. I love you all. Thank you for riding with us. Follow the Instagram, El Boricua El Parcero podcast on Instagram, and follow my Instagram, Ovalez_. I post it on Snapchat, and I also post it on TikTok. I love you guys, and I leave you with the outro.